What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Warriors Report. I have some news for you today. There's an article that came out yesterday by the Raptors Rupture suggesting the Raptors could potentially take a look at big man Alperen Sengun in this year's upcoming NBA draft. So who is Alperen Sengun? Let's talk about that. And for today's video, I'm going to be showing you some of his highlights. I'm going to break it down with you. I'm going to throw out some statistics as well as how the Raptors may take him, some of his strengths and weaknesses, and all of that fun stuff. So before we get into the details of the video, you know the deal. Give this video a thumbs up as it'll help reach more fans across YouTube. And if you could hit that subscribe button as well, that would be greatly appreciated. With that being said, let's get into today's video. So Alperen Sengun is an 18-year-old who's played in the Turkish league of Besiktas. Now, I'm sure I've butchered that name, but he is an intriguing player. And let's show you some of the highlights here. I'll break his game down with you here. So we have to start this highlight package, and we have to talk about one of his strengths, which is the ability to block shots. Now, Sengun may not be the greatest defender, but he has shown the ability to block shots. He's actually one of the best shot blockers in the Turkish league, and that's great to see because you want the hustle from your big man. Another thing you really like about Sengun is his ability to get those offensive rebounds. As you'll see, he already starts running and he gets this putback dunk. He's always positioning himself really well for these offensive rebounds. And I read a crazy stat online where it said he finishes about 83% of his offensive rebound putbacks, which is great to see. And even on this particular play here, he sticks with the play despite losing the ball, and he still manages to get that offensive putback. Another asset we have to talk about is one of his many tools is his ability to pass the ball. Now you see this behind the back no-look pass is amazing in transition. He does this a lot. It doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, but he has the ability to kind of run in transition, stop and pop and pass it to someone. As you see there, he gets the ball. Unfortunately, his teammate misses there, but as I've mentioned, his offensive rebounding ability is amazing. He still manages to get that. And when we talk about Alperen Sengun, we cannot talk about him without talking about his post moves, because as you see there, he does a great job of pump faking. He has great footwork, and that's something the defenders have to respect, because you see him, he kind of stops a little bit early, but he has the footwork to get to the rim. And now watch this play in particular here. Defenders have to respect his passing ability. He goes in the paint. He has two defenders on him, nowhere to go. So he pump fakes a pass. The defenders look the other way, and he still manages to get that putback. Another thing about him is he can finish with both hands at the basket, which is great to see for a young big man. He does a lot of little things like that. Another asset I really like about him is his pick and roll game. As you'll see here in just a few seconds, he sets nice screens. He rolls to the basket. Now, he's not a great three-point shooter, but he has shown the ability to shoot the three-point ball as well. He has really nice touch. And as you see here, he'll set that pick. He runs to the basket. He stops early, but as I've mentioned, he has great footwork. He has those post moves which allow him to finish around the basket. And the defender goes for the pump fake, and he finishes around the basket. So let's continue to talk about some of his strengths. As you see his statistics at the bottom of the screen, he's a great rebounder. As I've mentioned, unfortunately, it doesn't show up on his assist column, but it just depends sometimes on which point guard you're playing with. He does a lot of little things like gets steals, gets blocks, and you see his point total as well. And take a look at his free throw percentage as well. 81% is really good for a big man. Now, with that being said, let's talk about some of his pros. We've talked about his pros, but let's talk about some of his cons. Now, you see his free throw percentage is good, but his three-point percentage is not. 19% is actually really bad as a three-point shooter. Now, I do think he can definitely develop into a decent three-point shooter at the NBA level. We do have to remember he's only 18 years old. He's playing against grown men. He's doing a great job. He still has long ways to go to develop his game. Another thing he needs to clearly work on is his defense. He looks a little lost on defense. Now, he does get steals, he does get blocks as well, but he can sometimes be prone to getting too many fouls as well, as he tries to contest those shots all the time, which we see with a lot of young big men. You kind of go for those pump fakes, he tries to contest those shots, and then fortunately he does end up getting in foul trouble. As you see there, his 3.1 fouls per game. Those are some of his things. Now, at the NBA level, we will have to see how his game translates, because with a lot of European players, we don't necessarily see that same impact which we see in European leagues, and then you see them in the NBA. It's not the same. So he is a little bit undersized to be playing as a big man. He's 6'10", 242 pounds, which is, for modern NBA, it's great to see him, but realistically, I don't know if he can. He doesn't have the physical tools. Yes, he's still growing, as I've mentioned. He'll need to get a lot stronger. He'll need to build some strength up, as some muscles up to kind of really bang in there with NBA big men. But that is something the Raptors would have to consider. Now, let's talk about the fact that the Raptors, when drafting him, we would have to take into consideration where we would draft him. Now, we know the Raptors have a top 10 draft pick. Now, this becomes really tricky because with a lot of Europeans, it's a mystery as to where they'll go in the NBA draft. He's one of those players that could go top 20, or he could drop down to, 30, 40, which is what a lot of NBA mock drafts have him going as. Some drafts have him going at 15 to 20 range. Others have him going 30 to 40 range. Now, we know the Raptors have two second round draft picks, which they could potentially trade up and maybe target him. I don't see the Raptors taking him in that first round draft pick unless they get like a 10th, 11th, and they decide to trade down, or he just has really nice workouts. But that is something we would have to consider if we are to draft Alperen Sengun. But he is definitely an intriguing player. He's an exciting player for sure. So before we end the video off, I do want to hear your thoughts of what you think about Alperen Sengun. Let me know in that comment section below what you think of him. And with that being said, guys, if you're still watching this video, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.